Welcome to the Property Guide and thank you for tuning in. This is a weekly comprehensive guide to the property market in India. We've reviewed locations, developers and projects so you can find the right home and make the best possible investment when you're buying real estate. Now, this show is brought to you by the same team that's been putting together Investors Guide for the last 4 years, and Investors Guide continues to air on these times on ET Now. Remember, you can send in any question you have about buying property to the Property Guide on ET Now. On the show this week, well, developers now turning great offers and deals ahead of the festive season will tell you how you can make the most bang for your buck when buying property. Now, we'll also review the real estate market of Chennai and tell you what areas of growth you should be focusing on. And in our legal segment, find out what you can do if your builder has delayed construction. Joining us on the show this week, Gulam Zia, Executive Director at Knight Frank, Karthik Verma, co-founder of PropTiger.com, and Jayesh Kurup, the Head of Content and Research at MagicBricks.com. Now, the reason why we've put together such a wonderful panel of people for you this week is the festive season. Now, the festive season tends to be the most promising time for developers. A lot of people like to spend money. NRIs bring a lot of their dollars back to the Indian market looking for homes. But this year, sales have been soft, flat almost. And as a result, a lot of developers are offering special offers, discounts, gold coins and cars sometimes if you book property. Take a look at what developers are offering this festive season, and we'll come back and talk about whether or not you should take them up on those offers. Here are a list of interesting festive season offers this year. Amelia Floors by the Vatika Group. Pay 35% in 6 months and the rest only on possession. Azotec Breeze, also in Gurgaon, offers free parking and a waiver on the location charge. Wishtown JP Group Noida pays 50% in 18 months and the rest on possession. Divyansh Fabio in Ghaziabad. Buy 1,500 square feet and upgrade to 1,600 square feet. Prakriti by Godrej Property in Kolkata allows you to win 5 or 10 gram gold coins. Mantri Serene in Mumbai offers a discount of 3 lakh rupees. TG Abhushan in Bangalore a discount of 3.5 lakh rupees and free car parking. Bolaneni Hillside in Chennai offers modular kitchens, water heater and ACs free. Apart from this, the Rustomjee Urbania property in Mumbai still has its 2 years rent back offer for anyone who pays a 20% down payment. And Supertech, on all of its locations, is offering free LCD TVs and a BMW 3 Series. Alright, so that was the list of offers. I'm going to bring in all of our guests right now. Gulam, you first. From what you have found out on the market, you're talking to builders on a regular basis. Are customers falling for these offers? Are they actually taking anybody up on the offers? Has it changed sales in any way?
Well, these offers are only helping those fence-sitters who were in the market, but then taking their time to decide on the right time to enter, to sign the dotted lines. So that is what is the scenario. So if you are talking about a car or a fridge or some such freebie that is coming in, obviously that is converting those fence-sitters to take that decision and go for it. However, on the other side, there is also this, the 2080 thing has come back in newer avatars. There are different shapes and attires or garbs under which it is coming back. And that's a risky situation. So normally we advise our buyers not to go for any of these long-term financial juggleries, etc. And instead just work out whatever you would earn out of those long-term things in terms of net present value, etc. And ask for that much of discount today, or that much of offer, or whatever it is that you can take from the developer. That is much better than falling for those, 5-6 year long programs.
Well, Karthik, of all of the offers you've seen so far this festive season, what's the most interesting one you've come across?
We've seen everything from gold coins to cars to freebie holidays, but there are certain builders who are offering free registration and stamp duty. There are other builders who are saying, pay upfront 15 to 20% at this point in time and pay the balance 75 to 80% at the time of possession. We are not advising any of our clients to go ahead and buy property if they weren't already in the market to buy a property. Having said that, our preference is for those kinds of freebies where the terms being offered tend to, help the buyer in terms of their payment plans and are, continuing to retain the risk at the side of the developer, so there's not that much of money that the buyer is paying upfront. and much of the onus is going to be on the developer to develop the property.
I want to bring in Jayashree here. Jayashree, I'm going to ask you a question that all of the customers are asking at this point. Instead of giving me a free car or offering me a gold coin, I've also read reports about referrals where if you can get your friend to buy an apartment, you get a discount. Why don't the developers just drop prices? Because that's what customers are sitting on the fence about. They're waiting for those prices to come down. Tell us why developers are not dropping prices, and do you think it might happen in the future at all?
Dropping prices seems to be a very, very difficult issue. Even at the height of the recession, 2009-2010, they dropped basic sale prices, but there were many other add-ons. So net-net, the consumer was paying more or less the same. But right now, if you ask me, the discounts have started coming in, and I don't mean the ACs and the refrigerators. I think if we've been consolidating discounts in a deal section on Magic Bricks, and we find that city to city there are various kinds of discounts that are being offered. The NCR, of course, is completely flooded with gold coins and refrigerators, air conditioners, free trips and so on. But if you look at the southern markets, Bangalore, Chennai and so on, there you see a 100 rupee discount, a 30 rupee discount, a 500 rupee discount on sale prices.
All right, it's a good time to go in and negotiate. Gulam, my last question to you. For an end user right now who's narrowed in on a property, who goes in to negotiate like all of you have recommended we do, how far can we push the deal? What should we be asking for? And if we ask for a discount, say on FSI or on the actual square foot rate, how much of a discount do you think we can get at this point?
You have to go very clearly with a mindset to bring whatever you see down by at least 10%. I would say a minimum 10%, what should be your target? And then whatever best you can fetch. Obviously, it is you have to also show the eagerness. You also have to show the ability to sign the dotted line right there. And I guess you're going to get the deal that you're seeking.
If I could very quickly ask you, for those of our viewers who are considering taking builders up on these offers right now, can you give us a checklist of things we should keep in mind?
Just make sure you understand what the financial terms are. Make sure that the contract is no different from the contract that's been offered to other buyers in the property prior to all these festive discounts coming in. Just make sure you understand that the contract explicitly states what the delivery date is. And most importantly, just understand all your different rights in case the builder's construction is running late. Don't get tempted just by a freebie, benefit in kind, or something that's translatable into money. Ultimately, it's a fairly big-ticket purchase that any client is making, and you should be exercising the same kind of due diligence at this point in the festive season, just as you would be in other non-festive months of the year, because this is, after all, going to be a large part of your life savings you're going to be using up for the next few years.
So that's the list on your screen right now. What we've also done is we've put together another list. We've got our panel of experts together, and we've drawn out a list of the best deals in the market right now that you could possibly consider. Take a look. Our panel of experts have put their heads together and they've brought out this list of festive season deals that make sense for you. Amelia Floors by the Vatika Group at Sector 82 in Gurgaon, Wishtown by the JP Group in Noida, Prakriti by Godrej Properties, Manche Serene in Goregaon East Mumbai, Abhushan by TG Developers in Bangalore, and Bolaneni Hillside in Chennai. All right, let's move on and answer a couple of questions. Anand has written in. Now, he wants to buy a one-bedroom apartment in the NCR with a budget of 20 lakh rupees. Now, he wants to know if he might be able to buy something perhaps at the Alwar Bypass Road, and is it advisable to invest at this point? Jayashree, I'm going to bring you in here. Is it possible at all to find anything in the NCR right now for 20 lakh rupees?
The area that he has suggested, the Alwar Bypass Road, Bhiwadi currently is one of the very, very affordable destinations in the NCR. It's probably on the periphery of the NCR. And in Bhiwadi, you are actually getting properties between about 13 to 25 lakh. And the Alwar Bypass Road is one area where he would be able to find properties. And Bhiwadi is, it's an end-user-driven market. It's driven by the Hero Honda, that industrial belt which has the Hero Honda factory and so on. And therefore, even if he buys for future end use, he would be able to get a rental return. So Bhiwadi is a good option for him.
Coming up after the break, we're going to discuss Chennai as an investment option, and we'll tell you what the future areas of growth are in this city. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching The Property Guide on ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. This week, our focus is Chennai as a real estate market. All of our guests are standing by. There's Karthik Verma, there's Jai Shekharub, and of course, Ramziya, who's in the studio with us. Before we talk about Chennai right now, let's take a look at how prices have moved in the city over the last few years. Avan is here standing by. Avan.
Thanks for that, Faye. Well, the residential property prices in Chennai have witnessed a slow but steady increase over the last 3 years. Porur, which is one of the fast-developing suburbs of Chennai, has seen a property price increase from 3,525 rupees per square foot in 2011 to 4,950 rupees per square foot today. Now, that's a whopping price increase of 40% in the last 3 years. Vellacheri, which is an IT hub, has seen a price increase of 17% in the last 3 years. The residential prices here are at an average of 6,450 rupees per square foot today. In the south of Chennai, Tiruvamayur, that's seen a price increase of 28% over the last 3 years. Residential property prices here are quoting at around 9,475 rupees per square foot currently. Ambattur has seen a lot of industrial and IT activity taking place, and in spite of a 29% price increase in the last 3 years, it is still one of the most affordable locations in Chennai, with the prices quoting at around 4,025 rupees per square foot at present. OMR, or the Old Mahabalipuram Road, is an IT corridor in suburban Chennai and is witnessing a lot of real estate activity. The prices of residential properties here stand at around 4,075 rupees per square foot versus 3,225 rupees per square foot in 2011. And T Nagar, which is one of the busiest shopping districts of Chennai, that's one of the most expensive localities as well. The prices here stand at around 12,625 rupees per square foot at present. With that, it's back to you, Faye.
All right, Avan, thank you so much for that update. Again, I'm going to start with Jeshri at this point. Jeshri, when we talk about Chennai, there have been a lot of reports about the fact that there's a lot of supply that hasn't been sold in Chennai. The market has actually been a little slow over the last 1 year. What's your reading of what's going on the ground right now?
Chennai market is actually oversupplied, but wherever there is an economic activity, there's an economic pull. That is where the residential markets have been selling. This would be typically Sri Perumbudur, the OMR, the GST. These are areas where there is economic activity at one end, and that is creating a long corridor of residential development, and that has been fairly popular with the buyers. There's a lot of inquiry in the Chennai market. If I look at what's happening on our website, we see a lot of searches, a lot of inquiries happening. But a Chennai consumer always does a lot of research before he buys the property. With about 35,000 properties completed or close to completion, he has a lot of choice and he's spoiled for choice. So I think the consumer is actually looking around, scouting around, but not as in the rest of the country. I don't think consumers are very upbeat about buying property at this point of time. So it's a slow market right now.
So, Jeshri, like we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, in any market where there's oversupply, do you think there's room here for customers to find stronger discounts, perhaps negotiate better prices in Chennai?
Absolutely. The 10 to 15% negotiated values that I think Karthik was speaking about is very much a reality. Today, the consumer knows that he can negotiate, and developers too know that the consumer is in the driver's seat. I think consumers are still sitting on the fence, and therefore developers are quite willing to negotiate and get them to buy.
All right, I'm going to do one round of questions for each of our guests to find out what neighborhoods in Chennai they're most bullish about. And when I say bullish, I mean where is the infrastructure going to come up, which neighborhood is going to appreciate the most. Karthik, you first. Tell us which neighborhoods in Chennai you see the most activity in going forward.
We still feel that OMR is probably the best destination for somebody to plant their roots and plant their money into to buy a property. There's a lot of IT, as you said, infrastructure over there. There's very large companies such as TCS, PayPal, eBay from the US, including our very own Times of India that has very large office space over there. So we feel, given the office cluster over there and the subcluster of the IT boom and so on, OMR is probably the best destination where we would put our money.
What about you, Gulam? We were talking about the fact that Sri Perambudur, OMR, these areas, huge oversupply at this point. But are you also sticking to those areas right now?
Well, in terms of investment, it's a big issue because we haven't seen the prices really going up in the last couple of years. In fact, there has been softening or reduction of prices that we have seen. So OMR, well, it is oversupplied, but in terms of usage, it's not for investments, and use is still fine. However, what we have seen, there is a location called Pallikarani, which is just before the OMR begins. It's in the heart of the city. The location was actually lying low or was not really favored because of its lack of connectivity. But the new monorail project, which is the Vandalur-Velachery monorail project, is connecting this location to the GST, the OMR and such. And which will, in short period of time, will bring this property back in favor.
Alright, so here's a list, in fact, of projects in Chennai that our panel of experts think are interesting at this point. Take a look. Here's a list of recommendations of properties in Chennai that our panelists have put together. Purva Swan Lake on OMR Road, available between 53 and 75 lakh rupees. Iris Court by Mahindra Life Spaces on GST Road, between 35 and 62 lakh rupees. Oxygen by Urban Tree Infra, sold between 34 and 41 lakh rupees. Cosmos City by the Provident Group, between 28 and 35 lakh rupees. Republic by Akshaya Group, between 27 and 60 lakh rupees. And Silver Springs by the Prestige Group, sold between 1.3 and 6.9 crore rupees. Okay, let me quickly answer some more questions. Nikhil has written in, he has a 2-bedroom flat that's under construction right now on Kolshet Road in Thane. He says the flat will be ready in 6 months and he's thinking of selling this flat and buying a 3-bedroom apartment in the same area, which will be ready to move in 6 to 12 months. His budget is 90 lakh rupees. Does this make sense? Gulam, does it make sense at this point to get out of a under construction flat by another under construction flat?
His 3 BHK would essentially ask for a 1200 to 1400 kind of size of a property. And that size is difficult to fit into a 90 lakh budget. Even if you're talking about Kolshet Road where options are limited, still your rates per square feet are in the range of today about 8 to 10,000 rupees a square feet. So a 1200 or 1400 square feet property will be way ahead of 90 lakh that he has put as his budget. But if you talk about Ghorbandar Road, which is not too far off, it would perhaps be a few kilometers from Kolshet, there the range is slightly wider and slightly cheaper.
Fortunately, we've run out of time on these two segments. It's time for us to take a break. But before that, let me thank all of our guests. Gulam, thank you so much for coming in. Karthik and Jayashree, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Remember, if you have questions for any of our guests, write to us. The email ID is at the bottom of your screen. It'll be our pleasure to answer your questions on the show. On the other side of this break, in our legal corner, we'll find out what you can do as a customer if your builder has delayed construction. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching The Property Guide in ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's time to move on to our legal question. And to help us answer this question, we have Amit Haryani who joins us. He's from Haryani & Company. He's a founder and managing partner there. He's also our legal on our panel. Amit, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Vijay has written in. He tells us he booked an apartment in South City 2 in Unitech in 2011. Now, the apartment was supposed to be handed over within 24 months of allotment. The total cost of the unit was about 80 lakh rupees, and 30% of that amount has already been paid under the construction-linked plan. Now, it's been 13 months since the date of allotment, and construction has not even started. He wants to know what he can do right now, since Unitech won't even communicate with him right now in writing. Is there anything he can do as a consumer now that the construction has been delayed? Amit.
The first option is that you can file a civil action, a suit against the builder for specific performance of your agreement. And you would get certain interim orders that the flat cannot be sold, etc., etc. But this takes far too long a time. So, the other two options are really the good options for you. Number one, go to the consumer court and assert your rights. If the builder has not given you or not even started construction of your flat, then that's against the law. The Consumer Protection Act protects you, and you can even argue the case yourself. At the end of the day, you are really interested in another flat, I would assume. Or you are interested in your money back along with interest and damages. So, these are all levers to ensure that you get either another flat that you want or you get your money back with sufficient compensation.
All right, Ami, thank you so much for answering that question. Now, if you have a question to do with the legality of buying property, write to us on the email ID at the bottom of your screen. Also, send in any question you have about property altogether. It will be our pleasure to hear from you. Our email ID is on your screen. You'll find a copy of this show on our Facebook page, and you can reach me personally on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching.